Okay, this is the front page of Google Classroom. Whenever you head to Google Classroom, this is the first thing you see. You see any classes you are a part of or that you teach. So currently, I am a teacher in these particular classes. I am not enrolled in any Google Classrooms. So the general gist of how this lays out, these buttons as you lay over top of them, these tiles, when they becomes the little hand, these are classrooms that you can go into. Each classroom has a name. Anytime you see 3 lines or 3 dots, so that the ability to edit this particular class is in these 3 dots. The 3 lines lets you navigate any of your Google Classrooms. So for example, take you up here first. This button just takes you to classes. Calendar takes you to anything that's in your Google Calendar that you have for each particular class. Now I have Google Calendar turned off for my classes so that I don't get bombarded with assignment due dates and whatnot. I just kind of do it all through the classroom. There's a to-do list, which basically if you have assignments that have been made and that need to be graded, it would show you those, and you could go get to those assignments from here. You could get to them and start grading them if you needed to. I don't typically use that to-do list, but it is there if you need it. Usually what I do is I just go to the class and grade it from there. You can get into any of the classrooms that you are teaching, and if you were enrolled in any, they would show up down here. Now I'm going to move my menu here. Oops. There we go. So you can see a little bit. Archived classes. If you have any old archived classes, you can get to them. You can see that there are many. You can always bring them back. So if you want to move them or open the work for them, you can do that. But I'm going to head back to the main page. On the main page, you've got tiles that represent each class. And in the upper right hand corner, like we said, you can either move them, edit them, copy them, archive them, or leave the class if you don't want to be part of it anymore. So if I head over to this test classroom and I were to press edit, you can edit anything in here, what room it's in, what subject, what section, what's the class called. Copy it if you were going to make multiple classrooms that were going to be built sort of the same. These 2 folders can trip people up. There is a gradebook option in Google Classroom, which we'll kind of talk about here in a little as we go on. You can get to your gradebook for that particular classroom by clicking that. You can get back to the main page there or back to classes. But this folder does trip people up. This opens the back end folder of your Google Drive. You'll notice it's in my drive, in my Google Classroom folder. It's the classroom test folder that was built with any assignment. You do not need to use this, ever. Everything that is done through Google Classroom will be done through the actual classroom. This just shows you and represents what happens on the back end. Google does everything in the background for you. You do not need to go to these files, neither do your students. And moving stuff out of this particular folder would move it out of the classroom, which would mean that you might not see it when you go into your Google Classroom. So I would strongly advise you not to hit that unless you absolutely know what you're doing. So that's all there really is here. On the upper right, there's a birthday candle, 5 years of Google Classroom. You can just hit that, and if you would like to learn more, it will tell you. Other stuff that's important, if you notice right down here, there is a gray question mark. If you would like to ask a question to Google, you can. If you would like to report an issue or request a feature, you can. Google does pay attention to this. They have real people that read this and they try and design Google Classroom to work for teachers. This what's new will open up and let you figure out what new features they have added in September or August, or if you want to go back farther, you can figure out all the different months that they have done something. June was the biggest change, especially to the grade book. There are a couple new beta programs for rubrics, which we've applied for, but you can find that out hitting the little question mark. So that leads me to this, which is your add a new class. You can either join or create. If you do create a new class, it just opens up that same look as the edit feature. If you do a join class, it will ask you what the class code is. If you've been invited, it would show up here and have a join button. Other than that, you got your waffle 9 dots here in case you want to get to another app in your G Suite, or you can sign in or sign out of your browser. Of your product here. Your browser sign in is above it. And that's all there is on the front page.